Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Farron Khalid and I'm back again with another episode of Collective Connect. Today I've got a very close family friend coming on the show, but also someone who's doing absolute bits. Her name's Valencia Germain. She's a model, a hair model. She's awesome, and Valencia's going to talk about everything she's doing. So Valencia, why don't you introduce yourself? Just tell them a bit about yourself.
So obviously I am Valencia.
Cool.
I'm a model, yoga teacher, and just here for the good vibes really. So I'm happy to get together with you today and just discuss some cool
ideas. Glad to have you on the show. I'm glad. What got you into yoga? You know, recently I started doing yoga. So like, you know, it's like yoga with Adrian. I don't know if it's like a YouTube channel.
Adrian's the shit, you know.
Yeah, I kind of fancy her now. I look at her every day, you know, when you stare at someone for that long doing yoga, you're like, wow, you're cool. Yeah, no. So what got you into yoga?
So I basically just tried out a class one day.
Cool.
Didn't realise it was this deep form of yoga, Kundalini yoga for anyone who knows about it.
Yeah.
And from there I just fell in love and started exploring like the mind and all of that business and how yoga relates to it.
Yeah.
And I'm an extreme person, so anything I do I have to do to the absolute max. So I was like, listen,
Right. So
I'm going to become a teacher.
Yeah. See, if you start, you're going all in. You're going to be the best
basically.
at it. Right, cool. It's a nice winner mentality. I like that.
Yeah.
So I guess like the question is like, there's like the mind and body connect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think about like the mind and body connect? Because I guess sometimes like people think they don't identify as like, one thing I learned from yoga is that like your body is one thing. It's not like these different parts. Your body's like kind of like this one body. I mean, maybe you could like completely disagree if you're a teacher, but
No, I agree.
Like, do you think it's important to make like the mind-body connection when you're trying to like kind of keep yourself, you know, engaged and fit?
Yeah, for sure. I think the whole part of life is kind of being whole. So to have that connection is really important in order to live a successful life, really.
Cool. Yeah, sweet. That's awesome. I mean, what do you think like yoga and spirituality has done for you as the individual in terms of you pursuing what you want to do?
So I'm a fiery Leo. Right. So it's good in a sense of it fuels my passion and all of
I'm
this.
a Pisces. Apparently I'm a wimp. That's what I'm.
You're a Pisces. My best friend's a Pisces.
I think I'm Pisces Aries. I'm a cusp.
And my other best friend's Aries. So
really?
That's why we probably have a good vibe.
Cool. That's probably why the clicking happens. Yeah, for sure.
But to be honest, I think it's hard because when you're growing up, you obviously have some kind of sense about yourself, but you're massively influenced by your surroundings. So in order for you to really find yourself, you have to get to know yourself, and spirituality and all of these things, they just help me explore, say, why something would make me angry or why this would make me happy, and just kind of go. How
do you think like the understanding of yourself kind of helps you in like everyday life, especially with work and dealing with other people? Do you feel like that's like that kind of like time you've taken to understand yourself? Do you see there's like a difference in your life and the way you view things? I mean,
it's a major key because obviously I'm a model, so if I'm going to a casting and someone doesn't want to book me or whatever, like I can't take it personally. But essentially they're talking about my image, so it's obviously there's surgery and all of these wild things, but I can't change it, you know. So me having a good sense of myself, if someone doesn't want to book me, I'm just like, listen, I don't give a shit really, because I'm not gonna really. I have confidence in myself, basically.
It seems like so you know yourself, you have confidence in yourself, and you know where you're going. So it's like, because of that, it's like one little knock or one little like, not even a failure, because I don't believe in failures. I feel like you get knocked or you get rejected for a job, right? In your case, but you know that you're going to be the best model in the world. So
I think you just have to get up and believe that, don't you? Really,
yeah, for sure.
And I read a really good quote yesterday, and it was just basically saying you can't fear rejection and you can't be knocked by what could be perceived as a failure, because ultimately you just have to have belief of, regardless of what's going on,
love that.
You're gonna achieve it. And plus the point where some people give up, they don't realise how close they were to success.
So
you ultimately you just have to keep going.
What does success look like? Because it varies for everyone. What I might think success is to me is different to what you think. So what's it for you?
I think a massive motivating factor for me is being able to look after my mum.
Right, cool.
So she doesn't have to worry about a thing. I'll just be like, listen, Beth,
family
check
ties,
your account.
got a plan.
Yes, check your account. I just dropped some mad money. No, but for real, just to be able to look after my family.
Yeah, for sure.
And career-wise, it's hard because I'm open to so many different things. and my goals are forever changing. I don't make massive long-term goals, if I'm honest, because I think it's good to make short-term ones.
Right, yeah.
And they obviously amount to something amazing anyway.
Cool, yeah. So, I mean, explain a bit about your goal setting, because, like, in fact, before we go there, give us some context into what type of modelling we do. And guys, hit her up for a job. I'm going to have an Instagram added here, right? Valencia Germain. And none of you boys try to be silly with her, because she's a very close family friend, and I will find you and kill you.
They'll just be sat in the requests.
Don't unsubscribe for that. If you go, I'm unsubscribing from this shit. What is this?
So what were we saying? Was it gold setting?
Yeah, it was kind of like it was like when you go about goal setting.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing it? Like, what's your process? But before you get to that, because I kind of went back on myself. What type of modelling do you do, and how's your modelling journey been? Like, explain a bit about the journey you're going through. Because you were on a massive billboard in like a few big cities. Like, you were in New York City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were in like Times Square, right?
It's funny.
Yeah.
You're in it.
That is awesome, man. That is so
it was
cool.
quite mad. And do you know what? It's funny because I had a really hard week the week before. Just in a sense of, you can relate to this. You just put mad pressure on yourself, right?
Yeah, right.
And I was just thinking, I work so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And there's so much I want to achieve. I've been grinding for years, and I just think, do you know what? Is anything paying off?
Yeah.
And so I was on the phone to my mum, like all emotional, blah blah blah. And then I had a job. I was supposed to. This is such a long story, but anyway, I had to go pick a parcel up from Zara, and I couldn't get signal for some reason to look at the Zara opening time. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just walk there anyway. So as I'm walking past Piccadilly, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know it was going to be there.
You just seen it.
And Zara was actually closed, so if I had Googled, I would never have walked past necessarily at that time. So
I guess it's meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be, but that was just a little nudge I needed to just, some validation from the universe.
What did it feel like when you seen yourself on the poster? Because, like, for me, it's like when I create a piece of work and it's out there, it feels really satisfying. Like, something inside of me like really gets turned on, and I think it's like one of the driving motivations for why I continue to make stuff is because, like, I'm self-aware that when I make things, I get a real buzz out of just the making. It's not necessarily like what comes with it; it's just the making of
100%.
stuff. So it's like when you see yourself on a poster, or you see yourself at the end of a campaign or something. How does that feel to you, and how is that feeling related to why you do what you do? That was a lot, but that was a loaded question.
Yeah.
You know, take that as you want.
It felt, the first person I always think of is my mum, because she's obviously like my number one fan.
Yeah.
So
shout out Beth.
Shout out Beth, definitely.
We love you, Beth.
So that was the first thing that comes to mind. And then it sounds ruthless, but I'm like, okay, amazing. But for me, the journey was the best part. Like, I got flown to Qatar and had an amazing day with this wicked team and stuff.
I seen you on a camel, right?
It was,
Camel. I rode a camel. They're quite I'm quite a short
Not
dude
again.
as well. So I was like, oh no, I'm about to fall off, shit, yeah.
But for me, like, the end result is the small part, really, because it's such a big thing up until that point. But anyway, so I thought of my mum, and then I'm also like, okay, amazing, but I'm like, what's next?
Yeah, carry on. We're just going to move a little bit because these guys next to us are making so much noise. I'm joking. These fucking people.
But yeah, so I'm always like, what's next? I think it's good to. I'm a bit hard on myself sometimes, and I think I need to credit myself a little more. But then part of what's going to make me the greatest is just in life, the greatest me, you know.
Yeah, the greatest you. I like that. Cool.
The fact that I'm always like, okay, what can I do now to be better?
Right.
And constantly build. So
I feel like as the human being and kind of like our species, we're kind of wired in a way where we're wired for growth, and we're wired to like constantly be changing and evolving because we're like an evolving sort of creature. And I feel like the goal is to get away from yourself as much as possible.
But do people do that?
But that's the
everyone's
question.
Staying warm and cozy in these comfort zones.
And it's like warm and cozy, but like there's so much shit that comes with that.
Yeah.
Like you think it's easy. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit down, watch Netflix all day and do nothing. But then so many problems start cropping up in other areas. You lose your job, your fucking girlfriend leaves you, your fucking, you know, you're not generally quite happy. You like to think this is chill, but you're not happy. You know what I mean?
But nothing good comes from comfort zones. So I think that's what drives me in a sense, because okay, amazing, I was on Piccadilly, whatever, but like, okay, what's next? it's good to constantly chase bigger things.
How do you get out your comfort zone? And like, how did you get out your comfort zone? Because I guess even I had a bit of a comfort zone. I think I've always been a bit driven to like do stuff. I think it's always been like my family growing up. I think a lot of it has to do from my background, and I think a lot of it was working from an early age since I was about 12. It kind of put that work ethic mindset and being around people who are generally quite successful. So like you pick up their energy and you pick up the way they are. You're like, oh right, I want to be like that. How did you get out of your comfort zone?
I just had a strong sense at a young age that there's this massive world out there, and I'm not about to play a small part, you know. And for me, I just had this idea. There was places I wanted to go, and like I was fortunate because I went to like, you know, travelled a little as a kid and whatever. And I just used to. I remember the first time I went to New York, and I stood at Times Square, and I just like, you have this good sense of like, oh shit, this feels like my spot.
So for sure. I want to go to New York.
It's so good.
I'm thinking of going next year. Like to live.
No, seriously. I'm down for this because
come on.
I went on a last minute trip in January, and I was like, you know what, this is where I want to be. But obviously I'm born in Cardiff, so Cardiff's a nice little small cute cozy comfort zone place, and I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna get out.
I was just saying before we started this podcast, like I love Cardiff in one sense, because people there I care about, but besides the people I care about, that place is so damn
you're like, bitch, bye.
Yeah, you leave and it's cool, but you're just like, oh man, it sucks your energy from you, bro.
Because I think it's important.
And that's not to say anything about like people in Cardiff in general.
Exactly. I'm not throwing shade, but I just think it's hard because it's a small city, so everyone knows each other's business. You go in here, you're being seen with this. It's just a bit all. It's all too much. And I think for my career, there's not many opportunities. So for me to get out of my comfort zone, like I had to physically take myself out of a certain place, you know.
It's like kind of like, have you heard of this idea of like the collective ego or the collective unconscious?
Yeah.
It's like a Jung idea. So he's a psychologist. And, like, he talks about this idea, and it's like institutions in different places have different collective egos and different ways of operating, thinking, and feeling, and energy. And it's like when you go to Cardiff, it's the collective energy that kind of creates the kind of dampness.
Exactly.
I think, and I don't think it's anything wrong with the individual per se.
No, it's just
it's like a collective kind of like just. I think it's relaxed. I think it's very relaxed and laid back, and I just don't like that. And I think an important thing is to understand what type of energy you like, but not just what you like, what's best for you.
And you have to, if you're not in the right environment, you have to change it, and that's a massive part of your being. Like I was traveling back and forth to London for years, and I was like making improvements and stuff, but in order for me to get to like a next level, I had to move. And it's hard for some people because it's like money's a big factor in all of this stuff, but ultimately life's about taking leaps, and they do pay off.
That's interesting. I mean, as someone who's going into your industry, what's your industry like? Because you get like a lot of like stick around the modelling industry, you know, like you get like the kind of cliche where it's like the girl's taking coke to make sure she's like a certain size, not eating anything. I mean, is it kind of like that, or is that kind of like a myth? I
just think, right, you can go into a situation and make it what you want it to be. So I can't ignore the fact that so there's certain measurements people have to be right. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not. But I'm just gonna make it what I want it to be, you know. Right. And there's obviously some people in the fashion industry who have these big fucking egos and whatever. But ultimately, I just think there's going to be nice people in the room as well, so you just mix with them. I'm fortunate. It's not going to be all dicks, No, exactly, and I'm fortunate because I do meet really good people and I work with good people. But
try what kind of energy you have. So you're going to
exactly. So I could go in there and be like on edge, but anxious, whatever, and then I'm going to attract that. But I go in, I take my energy with me, and I just make it what it's supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, people see a final shot, and as you know, the final shot is just the smallest percent, really, because people don't understand the work and stuff, the hours people travel to get there,
the teams that get together, the individual, what they're going through before they do it, kind of overcoming like the mental barriers and like actually creating stuff and getting all things together.
Exactly,
it's a process,
and you're spending hours with each other, so you have to make that fun. So That's an important factor. But the industry's a little ugly, as is everything.
Yeah.
But I think you just make it what you want it to be.
I guess most industries are ugly, and I guess it's kind of cool it's ugly in a sense.
Yeah.
Because I think it allows for, like, the yin-yang dynamic.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
if everything was too good, life wouldn't be fun.
Yeah,
in a sense,
it's good to have a bit of pressure and a bit of
salt,
this.
a bit of pepper, but then ultimately you can create something of value if there's something in contrast.
Yeah.
Against it. I think honestly, because I've been struggling with this idea recently. I thought, why can't we all just be really happy, positive, and like create stuff and share stuff together? Which I think's nice in one sense, and I think it's kind of very idealistic. But I think at the same time, would we really enjoy that?
This is the thing, and I was listening to a podcast on my way here. He's called Rob Dial. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Rob Dial, come on the podcast,
Dial,
bro.
yes.
I'm coming on yours. We're gonna make this happen, Rob.
And it's talking about stress. And
I'm gonna Google to get your email, man. I swear, Rob, I'm coming for you, bro. I'm even gonna link him.
He's big time, he's so sick. We're gonna do this.
Yeah, it'd be an honour, Rob.
But he was talking about lobsters, right? And he was saying lobsters basically outgrow their shell, but it's through stress. You basically good things can come because stress kind of comes with a bit of pressure, and through pressure, hopefully for everyone, should come growth.
Yeah, right. Agreed. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a book by Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's kind of like this public intellect. So he's like this guy who's like, he's a professor of psychology. He's a clinical psychologist at the University of Toronto. Yeah. And he made a book called 12 Rules for Life. And it's a really interesting book. I highly recommend you read it. His practitioners mainly focus on men, as opposed to women. But I feel like a lot of his stuff can be applied to women as well, because there are a lot of cross similarities. Although I think there are some big differences as well, in a certain sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day, I guess.
But I think,
into detail, but
I think it's good to have a bit of stress in your life. Not in a, and it's funny, and I'm not talking about the stress, like you're crying and all of these mad things, but it's good to have a bit of that thing because it pushes you to change.
A bit of tension.
Yeah, and you get out of your comfort zone, and it's a scary thing sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I just don't like being around people where they just don't want tension and they just want absolute chill. Like if I sit down and do nothing, I get fucking freaked out, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think not in a bad way. If I sit down and lay down, I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? Something, tension somehow, come back.
Yeah, I don't really relax very much.
Yeah, I don't relax.
And I think, do you know what? It's really bad, but I'm not a good person to be on time. I was actually on time today.
Yeah.
But I think it's because.
It's a sign of creativity, actually.
Yeah, and I just love the.
I read that Uber fact somewhere.
I'm just always like running for a train or something. It sounds really dramatic, but I think I just like that fuel it gives me. It pushes me to achieve things. And usually I am on time, but I just leave it really fucking fine.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Which is random, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Same with me. I should probably get on time more. Yeah.
It's something I'm trying to master, but usually I make it though. Yeah. I'm usually about a couple minutes late, but it's nothing major.
Cool. Have you got any big projects planned up soon? Anything cool you're working on? You had a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
You should totally get back on that, man.
Yeah.
But get you some clout. Try to help the cause, We'll try to grow something. Yeah.
Plans. So my short-term plans. I've recently left my side job.
Cool.
So as a creative, it's a little scary because your girl's got bills to pay, you know.
No, for sure.
I'm in London. I don't live a cheap lifestyle.
How did you find it moving to London?
It was the best decision I've made, for sure. And where I've been back and forth here for ages anyway, it's always been really familiar for me. And if anything comes up, like a last-minute casting or a last-minute shoot, like I'm here.
I think I got a cool question, which I'll let you go as much detail as you want.
Okay.
As a young person who wants to pursue what you want to do, and you want to move to a big city to do it where the opportunities are, but you're from a smaller city, because there are going to be people from smaller cities listening to this, what do you do and what mindset should you go into it with, and give them some advice? I think that's a nice little way to wrap up what you're doing at the moment, in a sense.
If you want to do something...
Girl, come to the city from the country.
If you want to do something, don't let anyone or anything tell you can't.
Right.
Because it's just simple... A big factor is money, right? Yeah. But if you're in a little city, just get yourself a little job, grind, get some money, and do what you need to do to make the move, because it will pay off.
Yeah,
it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And just social media is a massive thing now. Connect with loads of people in the city you want to move to. Find your place and just go. I don't think it's much of a big deal, you know.
100%. I think social media has done so much for me. Like, hence the reason we're even sitting here and doing this podcast.
Yeah,
is 'cause of social media.
definitely. And like, we've obviously known each other forever.
For years,
but
pretty much. Yeah,
the way
forever,
I keep linked with your life and stuff, like we chat, but I see what you're doing, and so that's how you keep linked with people, and I think people should just use it to their advantage.
Right, I agree.
So if you want to move to a big city from a little city, just know it's going to be the best decision you've ever made.
Yeah, and it's like, I think people are quite open to help you if you ask for it.
Yeah.
I think like...
And just be bold, like you have to just be... It's not even cheeky, but you have to be cheeky and just make some bold moves, ask people
cheeky.
for things,
I
call
like
in
that, yeah.
on some favours. You just, you know, what's the worst that can happen?
I mean, I think we're quite rebellious people in a certain sense.
Just
like,
fuck it, really.
Like, yeah, just fuck it, man, go. Like, people don't care if you ask for help, you know. People kind of like you asking for help. Just make it about them, not about you.
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Exactly,
Check it
boom.
out.
Yeah, what books are you reading at the moment, actually?
So I'm just finishing How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Cool, how's that?
Yeah, it's good. It's a really old one. So
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah,
man.
It's a good one.
Do you reckon he's still alive?
I don't even know, actually.
Yeah.
Is he?
I don't know.
I think one of my favourite books of all time, though, is a book called Happier Than God. So it's not necessarily about God. I'm about a higher purpose and stuff.
What do you think on God? But go on, carry on.
I'm about the universe, right? I actually went to Christian schools because,
really?
you know.
You went Bishop Orlando for us?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Happier Than God's just puts so many things into context. It's like, obviously loads of people start out on this positive movement with The Secret, right? But The Secret's a cool book and whatever, but the Happier Than God is just some next level shit. It just talks about all of the laws and it's just major. So I should have brought that for you today, actually.
Yeah, no,
but everyone read that book if you're about
definitely read that.
The whole positive movement. And
What
stuff.
like, this is a deep question. Like, I don't expect you to like maybe want to have a say on it, but what do you think God is to you? Because for me, I feel like it's something very internal. I don't think it's this big man in the cloud, which is like
who's just like who wants money at church.
Yeah, literally.
Anyway, God to me, so God for me is the universe. That's how I refer to the higher. There's definitely a higher thing. Everything's energy, and there's no way that there's not something, right? But so the universe works with you basically, and what you put out you get back. This has no relation to God really, but that's what it is for me.
So it's kind of like
we're protected and stuff and guided. It's just about tuning into that.
It's kind of like working with the universe and trying to create something out of it, where I think like stuff's actually made.
Just know you're supported basically. Like I guess I pray or I don't know what to actually. Now I'm thinking of it, but
I don't know, no prayers. It's not cool.
No, but like my kind of prayer is just being grateful for things. But I think if you're grateful for things, you get more of it.
So you're not the type to be like Jesus and his lambs and the wine and the blood, going to Jerusalem.
I remember when I had to go to the cathedral when I was in Bishop, and I was just like, oh, do I have to? Not in a negative sense, but I think people should just have their own idea of what God is to them, or whatever you want to refer to it.
Yeah, no, sweet, that's cool.
No disrespect. Anyway.
Yeah, no disrespect. Except for your chicken. Except for you guys. Pricks, no one like you. Yeah, cool. Do you want to wrap this up and leave something within the audience? Like one kind of like... one piece of...
Advice, info,
but some like try and make it practical and sentimental. Try wrap it up both. Like give someone an action step. What can they actually do that you've done which will help them? Like actually physically right now they could get up and start doing it. Like I know you can think it mentally, but what can you also go out there and do? No pressure.
Write down, pen and paper, old school. Like I'm one for iPhone notes as well, but pen and paper is the strongest form. And write down your goals, and next to your goals, write down the why you want to achieve these goals. And next to the why, write down some tiny steps to how you can get to them. So say if it's like, okay, I want to lose weight. Okay, so why do you want to lose weight? How much weight do you want to lose? What can you do to get there? And it could be just take a walk for 10 minutes. That's some form of exercise which will help you get closer to it. Like, just really, really, really break it down. And I learned this because it's good to have these goals, right? But if you're waking up on a day, you're tired, you're a bit demotivated, you look at your goal and you're like, actually, it's not quite enough for me to get myself up to go and do this today. But if you look at the why you're doing it, you're reminded why this goal is so fucking important to you, and more than likely you're going to get your ass out of bed and do it.
So it's like you have that driving reason why you're going to do it, the
Yeah.
motivation. So it's like why and how.
Yeah.
And then just keep.
Not even how.
Okay.
Just like a small step, not like a massive how, because I think the how shows up anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just take small actions, and all of these actions amount to something.
That's
big.
interesting. You said like when you have the why and you start doing it, the how comes.
Yeah.
So it's like setting your intention, going out there and just starting.
Because
and then
it's
you'll figure out
overwhelming
what
if you're like, how am I going to do it? Because we don't always have the answer how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to take a step. That's all it matters, yeah.
And see what comes from it. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah,
and practice self-love, everyone.
Yeah, man, love yourself, because no one ain't going to do it for you, man.
Basically.
Unless you're Bruno Mars, everyone loves that guy. Right, cool. I'm going to end this here. Valencia, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
And
you.
it's finally good to see you again. It's
Yes.
been so long. And yeah, guys, I'll have a link to your social media for Valencia Germain. Any modelling agencies listening right now, you better get my girl up on this shit, because she is fucking great.
Don't sleep on it.
Don't sleep on it, or she'll sleep on you. Good business tactics, leveraging, you know what we're at. Yeah, anyway. And guys, go follow at Collective Connect on all our social media platforms. And have a good week. Stay blessed. And if anyone wants to come on the podcast, let me know. I'm more than happy to have anyone on the show.
Everybody.
Get involved. We're building a community here of young people sharing ideas, projects and thoughts, and actually trying to create something of, I don't know, significance, I guess.
Yes.
That's a cool word.
Definitely.
Yeah? Alright, cool. Significance. And yeah, alright guys, I'm going to leave you guys there. Share this with a friend if you think they'll like it. Boyfriend Khalid, signing out. Thank you.
Bye.
Sweet, thank you. That was really...
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.